Hola, ¿qué tal mundo? Hoy está Cinco de Mayo. So I will celebrate with the Modelo Chelada. I'm going to post this one to my Homer Cocktail 49 site, but I consider it an author tube video. What we got going on is I started my author tube video sometime last week, and I got 3 subscribers, and that's nice, and I'm grateful for that. It's kind of frozen at around 23 total views for the few videos I've posted, and I don't want to bombard the site. This site right here, the Homer Cocktail 49, this is where I just boom, boom, boom. If something's on my chest, I put it here. Everything counts in large amounts. I think I put that somewhere on a website. So I'm going to talk a tiny bit about, I said that I wrote 13 books, or I'm working on my 13th book, Blunder. But I'm going to retract that. I'm going to retract that a little bit. I'm going to knock off 3 books, and I'll tell you why, and I'll show you 2 of them. I wrote my first serious novel, if you want to call it serious, Zotan, in 2003. But it had adult themes. It had R-rated sections. And at the time, one of my nieces, she was living in Northern California with one of my sisters. And she was too young for that content, you know. So I personally wrote a book for her. And, you know, a younger-minded kind of audience. It was called Nostalgia and the Timeless. Nostalgia and the Timeless. And then a year went by. I wrote another book that was adult-minded. It was called Title, 2004. And I wrote another book, which was a collection of short stories. And it was called... Oh, the first one was 3 Leaps into the Future, actually. And Nostalgia in the Timeless was the second one from 2004. This one, though, the second one, it was a little more jaded to me, you know? I was at a place of frustration in life. And this one was a little more happy. It's called 3 Leaps into the Future. So, you know, I wrote, there's 3 stories in here, basically. And you can see the font is a little bigger because it's meant for, you know, my niece, and at the time she was 11 years old. So I figured, you know, write a book, get her started on reading, get her to enjoy books. The language was a lot more simplified. For example, so and so did something and it was good, you know, stuff like that. There wasn't complicated and sophisticated language, esoteric knowledge, and it was meant for an 11-year-old to understand, you know, and hopefully enjoy. So, it's Cinco de Mayo, though. I want to talk a little about my family history. Okay, as you can see, I'm white, Caucasian, whatever you want to call it. I have family from Mexico, though. So it's Cinco de Mayo. Maybe it's an appropriate time to talk just a little about it. Make this as quick as I know how. On my mom's side of the family, my great-grandfather rode with Pancho Villa. And we used to have photos, family photos, and my great-grandfather was there standing next to Pancho Villa in a group photos. Now, somewhere along the line, these photos have disappeared, and we can't find them. Every time there's a wedding or a funeral, yesterday there was a wedding, we'd see family that we hadn't seen in a long time, and there's a funeral a few months ago, and the subject came up, and everyone's asking, hey, where are these pictures? Who has them? And we don't have them anymore, but I remember seeing them when I was younger. So that was my great-grandfather. And my middle name comes from my grandfather on my mom's side. And the family down there is from Chihuahua, Mexico. And my grandfather passed away when I was maybe 3 or 4 years old, and I have very few memories of him. He used to live in Hollywood, California, and we used to go visit him. And what I do remember is walking on his feet. Have you ever done this as a kid, where someone's holding your hands? Holding your hands. You're just little, and you're walking on the front part of their feet. They're walking along, and you're walking with them. And I remember he had a giant staircase where he lived. And then that was the first funeral I ever went to, was my grandfather's, and I remember kissing him. My dad propped me up, and he was in the coffin, and I remember kissing him on the cheek or whatever it was, and that, that's one of my earliest memories. Now, my dad's side of the family, they're the ones that are Caucasian, actually, but they're also from Mexico. My great-grandfather was a man named James, and he was in the U.S. Cavalry. He was fighting in Mexico, and he found love with a Yaqui Indian. Her name was Conchita, and she's actually the Corona. My name's Eddie Corona. Now, my grandfather started off with an Anglo name, but when they came to America, he never knew his dad. His dad was much older than my grandmother. And he disappeared from the life early on, and all he knew was his mom. So when he came here to America, he used his mom's name, which is Corona. And they're from Tepic, Nayarit. So this is my Cinco de Mayo vlog. I have a Corona extra hat somewhere, I just don't know where it's at. I wanted to mention this too, as I'm putting this on my Homer Cocktail 49 site. And if anyone wants to follow me on the AuthorTube, that's great. That's at Homer Cocktail. It's actually at youtube.com/BrickJane. But I want to kind of temper that a little bit. Maybe post only 1 or 2 videos a week tops over there, and give people a rhythm and everything, and everything's not a life or death matter. So let's see here, we're about 9 minutes almost right now. I'm gonna take off to my sister's house as soon as I film this. They're having pozole out there, which is nice. Yesterday my niece got married, so that was a good wedding. I wake up at 2:30 in the morning to be at work by 4, so it's not going to be a long day for me, okay? You guys have been really good, okay? Thank you.